Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. The DRF race of the day for Friday, September the 11th is race number 5 at Gulfstream Park. Let's throw up the field for the first leg of a 50-cent pick 5 wager. It is a 12,500 claimer going a mile and a 16th on the turf. You can download free formulator past performances for this race on the race of the day event page at DRF.com. Download them, handicap along with us. This is an intriguing group, Mike, but I think it's worth noting that the first horse on the also eligible list, the number 11, Donji, if Donji draws into the body of this race, he's way the horse to beat. I mean, he's been in the exacta 27 of 72 and is coming into this race off 5 straight buyers of 80 or higher.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I thought, you always want to, pay attention to the AEs, even if, we're not going to really discuss them too much on this video. If he gets into the race, I just think he's way the horse to beat in here.
Let's take a look at the Timeform US pace projector for this race. Cappy Hour, I agree. Cappy Hour, I think, likes to hear his feet rattle. He's going to be going to the front, the number 9. It's not like there are slow horses in here, but Cappy Hour, I think, actually has a chance to get pretty loose. Toss the 5 has shown speed in the past, but not recently. There's a chance Cappy Hour might get a nice, easy, uncontested lead at a square price.
It could go a long way if he's able to clear off on this field too, Dan. It's one of those races, I don't know if you agree with this or not, but when you go through it, it feels like a lot of different horses can win here. Trips are going to be very, very important. And as that horse gets loose on the lead, it makes him that much more dangerous.
I absolutely agree with you. And I think the one hot and heavy is the kind of horse that can get a trip. He kind of got one last time out for the 12-5. He was able to save ground in behind the lead, but then the pace kind of quicked up. He went to the outside and he just faltered a little bit at the end. He's run some decent races when he gets trips. 3 starts back, a good example. Saved ground, split horses when a beautiful hole opened up in between, and he was able to finish it off. It's all about the trip for hot and heavy. I think he's a bit of an in-and-outer, but at this price, I won't argue with anyone that likes him.
Agreed. And just, going back to that race 3 back, I agree with you. He got a great trip in there and he beat Donji. So I think, a race like that would make him really tough in here. I thought he got a good trip last time, Dan. He was between horses in the stretch there for a bit. It just seemed to me that if he had enough horse, it wouldn't have been a problem for him. And he just didn't have enough horse at that time.
I think a mistake I made in this race, and one that you didn't make, is that I didn't upgrade the 2 Tufa because he has a lot going for him. The only thing going against him perhaps is the April to September layoff. But this is a horse that's dropping in class, who's run some good races, and I'm still trying to exactly figure out the trip from last time.
Didn't get a good trip last time, and also just facing a way better field last time. I mean, Derby Champagne, the horse that won that race, he'd be 1-9 in this field. I mean, he's a really rock solid horse. I mean, this horse did not have a good trip in this race. I agree with you that the layoff is a little bit of a concern, but they're bringing this horse back in the right spot, and he has tactical speed from an inside post.
And he has won off layoffs in the past while taking slight drops in class. Just looks like he's in a good spot. He's 12-1 on the line. Rudiger, the 3, is a 1-run closer. He needs pace. He scored 2 starts back over a turf course with some give in it. And he just fell too far behind last time out, past some tired horses in the stretch. Again, these kind of horses, these 1-run closers with their running styles, they irritate me because they often get into trouble. They're exciting to watch, to be sure. Yeah. Rudiger could win with the right trip. It's just questionable whether he'll get it.
Yeah, I just don't know that the pace is really going to be there for him. 2 back, when he did get up to win for this same claiming tag, he had a really strong pace in front of him that day. They were contesting it, and he came and closed it down. Last time, I guess that wasn't the case, Dan. They didn't go that fast, but it's not like they walked in front of him. American Ninja, the horse that won the race, came from off the pace to win. And this horse just kind of was racing on evenly without threat at the end.
Farley, the 4, ran okay in that race. He finished ahead of several of these horses, including Rudiger. Let's watch that race right now. Farley had tried to split horses 5 wide, turning for home. You see him getting squeezed in those blue blinkers right now, and maybe that hampers his run a little bit. I have to admit, now that he's clear, I'd like to see him kick a little bit more. He doesn't change leads in the stretch, but all in all, he finished ahead of several of these horses. He did lose some ground on the turn, and he was squeezed in between horses. So he did have some trouble.
He did. That effort was fine. It would certainly give him a chance in this race. We'll see. And the other thing that I liked about that race, Dan, it was a little bit of a turnaround because his two prior starts, they really were not that good. And he actually turned things around quite a bit last time.
Toss ran a big race at Tampa Bay back on November the 27th when allowed to control the pace up front, and he still was run down at the end in that open 16,000. Since then, they've gotten pretty decent trips with him up close to the pace. It's been close but no cigar, but he's another horse that can work out a good trip because he has tactical speed. He has back races, and he's 15-1, making a second start off the layoff.
Second off the layup. I did feel like he could get the right trip in this race, but he was one of the horses I was a little concerned about. I just wasn't sure that he was good enough to beat this field.
Cash Call Kitten can certainly win this race. He has the figs, and he's another with tactical speed. We saw that 2 starts back when he made a 3-wide bid to win. Last time out, he might have had to move just a little bit too early into the teeth of that pace, and he paid the price. So I actually think he's a little bit better than he looks on paper on the way in.
Maybe he has an excuse for the last one. I wanted to see him run better in that spot, especially since so many of these horses are coming out of that race. But listen, he's a horse who won the first 5 turf starts of his career. He's won for 8 since then, but that win did come 2 starts back with a competitive figure.
Mystical Moon, the 7, steps up sharp for Jaramillo. Let's watch his most recent race. He's already taken over the lead, but boy, did he get a candy trip. Prompt in that 50-1 shot, awesome party for the outside, taking over the lead at will, opening up a big advantage, and no one was going to catch him. Rock solid buyer speed figure for a horse that's been very consistent. I believe he's been on the board in his last 8 races. Another horse with tactical speed. He's sharp. That was an easy trip last time.
It was. I mean, he makes a ton of sense in this race. His recent form is rock solid, and he does have tactical speed. He won so easy last time with that perfect trip. I guess the sticking point for me, Dan, was the race 2 back. I thought he was terrible in that race, finishing second to Cappy Hour. He's stepping up now out of restricted claiming races to face, I think, a tougher field. I know he can win. I wanted somebody else, especially if he's going to take money in here.
Big price on the 8 Dakota's Dude, 30-1 on Dakota's Dude, who I think was just completely overmatched last time out against the Florida bred non-winners of one other than optional claimers. Now, 2 starts back, he just didn't fire for the 12-5 level, and I'm beginning to wonder if his current form is just not good because he really only has 1 race in his last 7 or 8 or so that make him competitive, and that was when he went 25-1 on the lead, a situation that's unlikely to replicate itself here.
Yeah, that was my big problem with him too. He does have that race, but it just feels like they almost handed that one to him, and the surrounding races are just awful for him. And this is a horse who has races going back to last summer that would make him really tough in this race. I just wonder where he is as far as his form goes right now.
Cappy Hour beat Mystical Moon 2 starts back when sitting off of a loose pace setter at a big price, attacking on the turn and holding off the closers. It was a really solid effort. They stepped him up into the open 12-5. He got loose last time out, again, in a race that kind of went to closers, but he tired really badly in the stretch.
Yeah, didn't run as well. He was also taking that, big step up out of the restricted claimers into these open 12-5s, and he did not handle it. He was no match for those horses. He ran fine 2 starts back, but that's just not a race that I like that much.
1-run closer, unlock the potential. Just hasn't been picking him up in his last few races. Maybe in tough when he was in against those Florida breds. Last time out, he really never made a dent, although there wasn't a lot of pace for him. I'm just worried that he's not the best true closer in the field. He'll be a big price.
He'll be a big price. He does have a couple of races that would make him really tough if this thing sets up for him. They dropped him last time. He didn't run well, damn it. It's a trainer change. Maybe he'll run one of his good races here. One of his good races would give him a shot.
And of course, 1 scratch in here gets Donji into it, and all of a sudden he becomes the horse to beat at a short price. We'll assume Donji is out. He's on the also eligible list right now, after all. We'll take a look at our top selections for race number 5, kicking off a 50-cent pick 5. You're going with Tufa. I think it's a really smart pick. I probably should have put this horse way higher on my selections. He did not have a great trip last time out. He fits with these horses, and you just have to deal with the layoff, but I think he'll be running late.
I do too. I like the class relief that he's getting here. I just think it's the right spot for them to bring him back in. And as opposed to all the other horses who feel like they've just been knocking heads, running all the same races against each other, this is a new face, and he just might be better than these horses.
I think you make a very good point there because I could certainly see the argument of, well, I don't want anybody coming out of the Farley race. He finished ahead of 6 or 7 horses in here, and I didn't love the way he ran, so I'll take the stranger. I think the race was okay, at least from a figure standpoint. And he did have a little bit of trouble, so I want to give Farley one more chance, but I'm really interested in your horse now. 2143 for Mike, 4736 for me. Race 5 at Gulfstream on Friday as an approximate post of 2:02 Eastern. Good luck.